Papa back on the desk.
Yeah, I know. Because he's much more forgiving when Urgot gets locked in on 9.4, you know? Okay, I like this. Will mean that we're flexing the Rise towards the top side of the map, and the Yasuo comes out. The synergy on top side for the Yasuo is not there. There are no knockups to come in from the Rise or the Olaf, so we'll be waiting for the Braum to land some ultimates in order to get things working.
This is definitely a knife fight here that Sandbox has elected to draft. Pure aggression coming out of them. And yet another team composition that wants to get ahead early, and it kind of has to. And very similar to the Azir, they do have some insurance policies available within it. But on the flip side for Griffin, the Aurelia and the Callista, if they get ahead against the Sandbox team comp, there's probably no recovering.
Yeah, it's going to be a really tough one, but the Urgot is where the question marks start popping up. Urgot versus Rise feels like it'll be a decent laning experience for the Rise, who just wants to get to that Seraph's Embrace and wants to get those items completed. We'll see whether we actually get the weird new technology that I believe Doinby did. It was done in the LEC just last night. The Righteous Glory that Pawn, in fact, played on the Rise here in the LCK. Might be one of the options. Seen a bit of the Rylai's Leandries type style as well. Some definitely some new options to be picked up for the Rise.
I think going into the game, Sandbox is going to have to be on point. They can't make any mistakes in the early phase.
Nope. And Dove is going to have to hit his tornadoes, man. We're going to have to get those EQ flashes really on board because ain't no one setting it up for him. He's playing volleyball, but all of his friends are in wheelchairs. It's just not going to work out. Well, here we are. Game number 2, Griffin versus Sandbox.
A little bit of an erupted cheer for Sandbox, trying to give them a second wind.
They do have a lot of fans that have come out here to LoL Park. Yeah, that is a cool Yasuo skin.
Second wind.
Haha, I see what you did there.
See what I did there?
Yeah, I see what you did there.
That Yasuo skin looks like cotton candy. Now I'm hungry.
All right, well, this could be a tough matchup for Dove, and it could be a tough game for him as well. We'll have to be landing those tornadoes to great effect. Joker as well can certainly help him out. And speaking of Joker, he's on the Braum, so you have to respect that level 1 invade possibility. There is a Ghost Porrow down here waiting in the brush. So the Winter's Bite not going to connect, and Griffin have all the information of the southern side entrance into the jungle.
Looks like they're just going to give it up. Not wanting to get too frisky. Sandbox going for a late invade, it looks like.
Yeah, and Elise going to be starting on the top side of the map anyway. So Sandbox is going to be doing basically what Griffin did in game number 1. But Griffin are just not going to be here.
Oh
no, Lehens. Justice Punch is going to be skilled first, so he doesn't have to flash. The Sandbox do start on the red buff of their opponent. Tarzan's in position though, so he's not going to suffer from this one too much. Can head to the Rift Scuttler and then also steal away the enemy red if he would like to. As our Sword getting pretty aggressive here out towards the top side of the map.
They're getting a very good trade actually on Summit. And the Urgot, you know, it's just a pick. I love it so much. It's just such a powerful pick. You're able to get the Fear Beyond Death later on into the game. I can see the pain on your face right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I like it because Sword did try to justify why he was picking it. He thought that there were runes that could make it work. And he did, if you remember. I mean, they won the game against SKT. They were down 5,000 gold when the Nexus died, but the Nexus died and it wasn't theirs. So, can't really fault them.
Well, I'm curious to see what's going to end up happening in the lane. He is off to a relatively good start. And Dove here in the mid lane against Chovy. Just moving through the minions. Pretty cool animations now.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, Lehens coming on over. Not going to be able to get that flash in or anything like that. As Chovy darting around this mid lane. And how does this matchup work? Is this going to be favored in one way or the other in any particular manner. If you remember that the Yasuo was picked into the Aurelia, is this on purpose?
Yeah, the Yasuo can take over the matchup if he ends up getting ahead, but obviously Aurelia is still Aurelia. Yasuo is a little bit favored in lane manipulation setup, and then obviously the 2v2 here will be stronger for the Yasuo
real clean.
Olaf.
He got every single one of those. That's exactly what you want. It's Tarzan. Puts Cocoon on Scuttle Rivers. And now we've got priority for Griffin on the bottom side, but Dove has it in the mid lane. And that's a back from Chovy.
Yep. And what Chovy did here is interesting. He recalls, ends up getting another item in a Fairy Charm, so his sustain inside of the lane is going to be extremely strong. And Dove is now locked into the lane with him with just a Doran's Blade and the red potion remaining. So Chovy probably going to be looking for some sort of a solo kill, or at least a solo kill setup.
And he comes back to lane with an item advantage, and now Griffin are going to be able to invade the Sandbox jungle. So I do like the way that they've sort of played around where they have control. And OnFleek just milling about here for a little bit. Sweep is going to be utilized as they do clear out the vision, but a ward is still there and hasn't been swept from Sandbox. Chovy moves over as he has priority in the mid lane, and there we go. Okay, Taunt will land onto Joker. The Unbreakable's there, stops a lot of damage. Tarzan gets exhausted, but First Blood goes to Chovy on the Aurelia. They should even be able to get the steal away on this blue buff. They pull it into the brush, and OnFleek, nothing you can do.
Absolutely nothing is going Sandbox's way here in game number 1. Dove holding the wave in front of his turret. That's not what he's going to want to be doing against the Aurelia. Still, charge of Corrupting Potion remaining as one is being currently consumed.
Well, Dove actually playing very aggressively here against Chovy. Level advantage for the Yasuo as he did pick up that huge minion wave. So unable to capitalize on the First Blood just yet is the Aurelia, and will be shoved underneath the turret for a moment.
And right now, Dove shoving in the minion wave, looking for a recall. A little surprised that Chovy seems like he's just going to allow it to take place.
Well, we'll see this one more time. As the Justice Punch was pretty good. That's a visual bug, guys. That taunt was not. That was a very dead brawl.
Braum not having the best experiences. I think one of them's Sandbox fan, one of them's Griffin fan. So
yeah, there's a bit of salt there. Yeah. I could sense it. I could sense it.
Nice. Ninja Tabby's now completed for Chovy. Rejuve Bead as well in the mid lane. A little bit of choose your own adventure going on here.
Yeah, I was like, what is this? It's a confusing one. Is going to be building, obviously, towards the Tiamat. Has the Fairy Charm there just for some added mana sustain in the lane. But just looks a little bit curious. I'm reminded of Philosopher's Stone, but that was Mech Pendant and the Rejuve Bead.
I've heard stories of bank playing.
Oh, yeah. Heart of Gold is the one that you want. That was the best one. That was the best one.
Kage's lucky pick?
Yep. Cage's lucky pick, I like to call it.
Okay.
Shout out to Tenacious D.
I like that.
Yep. The old Pick of Destiny. Great movie if you haven't seen it. So Dove has the wave in a pretty awkward position here as Chovy is doing a decent job. Actually trying to dance around here, but doesn't manage to land the stun. OnFleek comes in, but Chovy is very healthy and he's just able to wander around casually. This is what the extra boots 2 movement speed does for you. As Disdain is not going to arm there for Sword, but you can see this Urgot's having a good time. In this matchup, top lane, it's only a tier, so not a lot of battle stats here for Summit, and Mercury's treads are done for the Urgot.
OnFleek looking to invade the blue buff. Ryze does currently have the priority, and Dove is probably able to get it at the drop of a hat.
Yep, I like it. Taking what you can safely.
Oh, I think they want to just give it over to Ryze. Nope, never mind.
Okay. Summit says, I would have liked that OnFleek, and OnFleek says, no. Not going to get it. Wow, that was close, but not going to be able to get it. Lehen's moving in at exactly the right time, so doesn't have the heroic entrance just yet, but could have just punched his way forward. Okay, Vanguard's Edge lands onto OnFleek, but seems like a bit of a wasted ultimate there. Griffin now using the minion wave position in order to get some deep vision in the enemy jungle.
The red buff is actually still up, and now they know that, so perhaps Tarzan Oh, no, it does not look to be on the menu for this Spider.
Not too worried about it. Galio now moving towards the mid lane means the Kalista going to be in a little bit of trouble. As okay,
oh.
Once again, not going to get stunned. That wind wall just stunning. On Fleek comes on forward, and they get under the turret. Things are going to be fine, but that was beautiful denial from Dove.
Meanwhile, down here in bottom lane, Viper just doing Viper things, farming underneath the turret. Does have a very slight CS advantage here.
And it'll be larger when this minion wave goes, so nicely done in a 2v1.
Not too much chaos unfolding in the early stages of the game, and this isn't what you wanted to have happen when you're Sandbox. This is also one of the very big reasons I deplore Olaf as a champion. As with nothing happening and without him getting ahead, he'll end up getting his first item, he'll have the Predator boots and whatnot, but it's not going to do anything in the mid stages. Just turn on his ultimate, arbitrarily run at someone, and then
we did see that yesterday. Very unfortunately, Olaf being complete passenger mode.
Well, actually, why I like Rek'Sai a lot more. I feel like in this regard, if what you're looking to accomplish is early game aggression, I think Rek'Sai just does everything Olaf does, but a little bit better.
Yep. Well, at this point, you can see Tarzan has actually found out where the Olaf is, and that timer you said is ticking down. On Fleek he's heading towards that first item where Tarzan is going to be very, very strong. He's already got Sork boots and a Skirmisher's Saber. This is a very, very scary Elise as Ghost hit by the Volatile Spiderling. Doesn't do too much damage just yet before Runic Echoes comes forward. As Lehens charges up the taunt but doesn't go for the flash. All summoner spells available on the side of Griffin, and the same can be said for Sandbox. And the Mountain Drake sleeping now in his den. No one actually going to touch it just yet, and there is control vision on it for Sandbox. On Fleek finally will be able to get his own blue buff.
Interesting as well, Tarzan elected for the Sork Pen boots as his first item, completely foregoing any of the jungle item components. And so that would actually suggest that he would be looking to fight early on, but not really finding any ability to, as Chovy just trying his own Dove out of a couple of minions.
Yeah, he's going to do so pretty effectively, as you can see. So moves up to about an advantage of 6. As this wave crashes forward, it will mean that Dove will be able to answer it, but it won't be able to meet parity. He's pretty comfortable just standing here. Not going to be a lot of turret plates falling, I don't think, here in the mid lane. Both of these mid laners, although melee, pretty good at clearing out a minion wave very, very quickly and without too much trouble. Sandbox, though, are going to move their bottom lane towards mid. Interesting movement. Looks like Shelly is going to be on the menu, as Griffin have passively moved to close to 1,000 gold lead. After that first blood did go down.
Right now, Griffin's team composition, it's still just waiting to rack up more items. It doesn't want to fight anytime soon, and this is the windows where Sandbox should have been the ones able to secure advantage. You look at what's going on down here in bottom lane. The Kalista ahead 29 CS, zoning Ghost actually.
2 plates, man.
Off a couple of CS, 2 plates now going over to the Kalista.
Half a kill worth of gold just from the tower. Already in the back pocket of Viper. Some scary stuff. That gold lead is only going to expand after that point. No Blade of the Ruin King just yet for either of these 80 carries, and the items are very similar. Of course, Berserker's Greaves, much higher value on Viper, which is why he rushed them. It's what we see from Kallistas everywhere. It almost has the recurve bow portion of the Blade of the Ruin King done, and then it's only the 700 gold for the recipe to complete. Dove comes on over here, and you can sort of see what Sandbox want to do based on their vision. A lot of vision around Shelly. There's, okay, not going to land the stun just yet. There's the flawless duet. Hasn't actually been all that flawless because it's so windy in the mid lane.
Definitely.
Look at that.
Gonna need a weather forecast in the current lane here, but so far, again, Sandbox very content to just take a very slow and methodical early game into mid-transition. Chovy just dancing around mid lane, CS on the wave, gotta go and get his blue buff from Tarzan, who has been very fortunate enough to leash it. Tarzan is down in levels right now. Not entirely sure how much, as I have not seen Olaf's XP bar, but On Fleek is already at 2 jungle camps, whereas Tarzan's still pathing over to his red buff and then his Krugs.
Yeah, exactly. So red buff will go down in favor of the Elise, but you're right, he hasn't really been able to farm up too effectively. Talking about his lanes, though, I mean, Summit, he's doing a great job top side of the map, but the Urgot is keeping up pretty nicely, and bottom lane and mid lane have been brilliant here for Griffin so far. It's pretty comfortable for them. Means that this Mountain Drake should belong to them if they want it. Summit's able to take some turret plates on the top side. Non-Fleek should be able to get Shelly if they want to. If they want to go for some sort of trade, it should be one of the options here. The Sword hasn't taken any plates himself, and the Urgot is falling behind ever so slightly.
That's a Rise that is getting reasonably fed. Curious to see if we will have a 15 or 16 minute Seraph's Embrace. I did see that actually yesterday while watching another region. I was very impressed with that.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see when the team fight trigger will eventually be pulled, probably around the Mountain Drake. Very surprised that we haven't seen some solo attempts from either jungler here in this game. But again, Griffin, they're not the ones with an obligation to do anything inside of this game. The Aurelia and the Callista in particular against the Sandbox team composition are just going to be monstrous later on in the game. And obviously the Fear Beyond Death, because the Sandbox team comp, it wants to be very close quarters with one another and the opponent.
Oh, threads the needle on the Cocoon as Summit is going to be able to get the passive shield on fleek. Here in time as Chovy turns up. Tarzan gets his way out. Vanguard's edge is there. But it's a great flash to come in from On Fleek. They are going to even this one up as Summit. Okay, On Fleek is able to get out of there, and Chovy moves back to Summit. Some very rare mistakes being made by Griffin this game.
Yeah, very uncharacteristic for Chovy actually to allow On Fleek to get away right there at the very end. And Tarzan a little bit overeager for trying to make that kill happen. It was definitely not something that they needed to force by any means.
Oh, that was so nice from Viper. Dodges out of the way. Fate's Call is going to come in here, but not a lot of damage. Onto Sandbox. A lot of buttons being pressed, but not a lot of results here on either side. This is going to be Fate's Call in trade for the Glacial Fissure.
Back to a mini LOL stage.
Yeah.
Are you excited?
Yeah, I love it.
I'm excited.
I'm a big fan.
Right.
Black Cleaver is completed for Sword, however. He went back, he grabbed himself the heal, does have teleport to get himself back into this lane. So now an opportunity to get some turret damage, but no plates as it's 15.5 minutes into this game. On Fleek, he gets a Rift Scuttler. Will Blast go on his way over here. Griffin, no reason to head up. They are going to group. Minion Wave is going to be in advantage and means that Sandbox unable to fully press that advantage. I think if Joker had his ultimate, maybe that would have been an opportunity, but not going to happen. Unfleek just pathing around here, trying to get himself an advantage, trying to grab some relevance on the Olaf, and certainly does have it after that flash play on the top side of the map. That got Summit a kill, and that got himself one also.
And again, Tarzan, very uncharacteristic gameplay here in both of the games. He's looking for these very aggressive plays. Foregoing farming altogether, he's found himself down 2.5 levels right now.
Yeah, it's crazy. That top lane play really bit them in the butt. Chovy clears out the minion wave and now will go and help Tarzan. So Shelly should be able to get some work done as far as eliminating structures, but no plates to come from it. No extra money. And I think the Mountain Drake feels like a more impactful choice from Sandbox. They have claimed the gold advantage after that one. Just shows that Sandbox aren't out of it yet. Game 2 is where they were able to pick up their win against Griffin in the first round robin. We'll see whether it's going to be where they pick up their victory in the second one also. Almost a Trinity Force though for Chovy, and I think that's when they're going to start trying to fight around this mid laner.
See, the Cocoon comes in here. Ultimate not cast by Sword at all. Maybe they could have gone for some sort of a flip onto Summit, but then right here at the very end, this is where it was so weird. Chovy allows him to get away.
Didn't manage to kill him.
Yeah. Flash available though.
얘도 잡았어요 형. 잠깐만 기다려봐. 난 위험해. 아 제발 하는 거 없어. 야너 빼. 난 살았어. 빼.
Yeah.
And Sandbox very relieved with the events that just transpired right there.
Also able to grab this turret on the top side of the map. That'll be first turret gold going over to Ghost. And he's behind. Tarzan's going to join in as Viper takes it down on the bottom side of the map as well. So mirrored map state, but the extra 100 going to be going into the back pocket of Sandbox. This map,
now.
It is very, very close. LS, everything is pretty tied up. I think the jungle is where the massive difference is going to be.
Yeah, that's where the discrepancy is. But Kalista does have a lot more gold than the Lucian. Has a couple of plates inside of her, as well as nice CS advantage. Also should be noted that Yasuo's build is much more defensive than it is offensive. It's not the static shiv.
Yeah, he's going to go for the Phantom Dancer, meaning that we're not going to see the Sterix Gauge, which is so incredibly good. Often, the reason why we see the static shiv, going back to that item, Phantom Dancer is still very good, right? You auto-attack the champion, you still get that, that ghost effect to get through them. However, the Lifeline passive is still going to be there, which is why Sterix is going to be the opportune choice most of the time. But Dove, he wants to get to that 2-item spike as fast as possible with the Infinity Edge build. You may as well have that added defensiveness. I like it. I'm okay with it.
Not bad. Sword here, down in bottom lane, getting dealt a fair bit of damage here by the Rise.
Yeah, it has to
barely
be
has any magic resist. Oh man.
Whoa. Okay, he's going to use his heal. He's going to get out of the Rune Prison. Lehens, he wants to challenge on the Summit here. Heroic entrance, not going to be utilized there as okay, flashes forward. They do manage to stop the Realm Warp. Summit gets himself a shield, does have the Seraph's Embrace, but he's in the grinder. That is a very dead Rise, and that is Sword getting himself a kill and possibly turning this game around.
Yeah, and that is a very big kill relief, very big pressure relief off of the kill down there in bottom lane, as now the Urgot going to be able to get himself a couple of waves of his own.
And now we're going to have man advantage here in this mid lane. No teleport available from Sword. Summit can make his way forward. Lehens gets himself under his outer turret. Ultimate is going to land there. Fate's Call means the Dove just denied the ult, and that's an easy pickup for Viper, but honestly a mistake from Sandbox. Sword finally waddles his way in, and Joker slowed down, but not taken down, as the flash had to be used.
Oh, and here comes Chovy.
Yeah, teleports come in from Summit just to try and get enough people here, but Shelly's going to join the party. It's still a person advantage in this mid lane.
Shelly only going to be able to get one turret, so it's not the end of the world, but a very big recent turn of events in the last 2 minutes here for Griffin. They managed to pick themselves up 2 kills and a turret as well. It starts here. Summit trying to cast the Realm Warp, gets locked up by Lehen's ultimate. Place down, Sword flashing over the side of Summit. Not sure if it was entirely necessary, but wanted to guarantee that he could bring the kill down for sure.
Also looked cool.
Yeah, did look cool.
Yeah,
Can't
and
argue
look,
with that.
You understand why they go for the Galio. He just used his flash on the bottom side of the map.
Yep.
But he's with a Kalista. That is 100% just a mistake, because Fate's Call is always going to be there.
We get the flash out of Joker there as well at the very end. Now, meanwhile, as we come back to live, Summit managing to pick up a turret down here. The gold is even.
Yeah.
Right now.
This game is extraordinarily close. Close to 22 minutes in. Baron has spawned. None of the team's going to be going over there. Griffin, if they are able to get control of the pit, will be able to have a lot of secure onto that Baron. It's not going to be an opportunity, really, for OnFleek to exert his dominance as far as the Smite fight is concerned, because a Rend is going to be there, and it's not quite as good as it used to be, but it's still very, very good. And look at this. I mean, you look at this gold graph and you're like, wow, it's going up and down, but it's only 1,000 gold, plus or minus basically 1.
Yep, 1,358 to be exact.
Yes, sorry.
Right.
I was rounding. I'm a rounder.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
Griffin now going to be able to pick up themselves the Clown Drake. It will force another Mountain Drake to end up spawning, so that should actually be a pretty high priority if the game is allowed to get to that point without some chaotic fight unfolding. Both of these teams have insane Baron potential. Rise, basically immune against the Baron with all of his shields. You have the Yasuo Wind Wall as well.
Yep.
And Lucian, no slouch at raising it, or not raising it, but killing it.
Spiderling's also pretty good at tanking up the old Baron also, so on the Griffin side, certainly not wanting when it comes to Baron damage, and Kalista needs no introduction when it comes to killing stuff. So you're exactly right. I think that this fight is going to be around the Baron. It's all about who can get into the pit and get the most work done.
Oh, man. Ghost?
Yeah, he's going to face check sword. The disdain is going to be very easy. Takes a lot of damage. Good ultimate defensively, but Viper should be able to use that martial post to get himself there. Realm Warp comes down, but Joker is going to die. Cocoon not going to land. Sword tanking a lot of damage as Dove is going to be fighting with Chovy on the top side. The flash does come in, but Chovy's just so tanky. Does eventually have to use the flash to get himself out of the way as Corrosive Charge comes in. The flow was built up, but it ain't built up enough. And Sandbox going to lose on multiple fronts.
And Sandbox right now are just getting picked slowly apart, ever so slightly, by Griffin. These kills are not ones that they want to be giving away.
But it's not blowing the game open, right? It's not creating a gigantic gap. It's 600 gold.
Yeah.
Even after 2 people fall down, because Griffin, the waves aren't in positions where they can truly capitalize, or the champions just aren't there. As on Fleek, yeah, he's just out of position, guys. Doesn't have Ragnarok. Blade Surge going to come in. Is it all a cunning ruse, though, as Ghost going to get on top, wants to try and get the flash forward. It's going to be Summit that gets on top. There's the Fate's Call. The Rise should die here. Fantastic taunt from Lahens. And once again, Griffin giveth, Griffin taketh away.
And Ghost manages to live there as well as on Fleek, but
this
Griffin
is aggressive. Okay, there's not going to be on Fleek for a little while. He's making his way back in. Ghost is on vision and doesn't have a lot of health. There's the repel.
Ooh.
Gets over to the blast cone just to get rid of it. Viper, look at all of the sticks in this Baron. Remember, this is not a true 50-50 because he's been hitting it with his autos for so incredibly long.
Tarzan has more HP than what appears because he has Smite.
All right, we're going for the turn. Oh my god, Dove just explodes. We do have the Olaf on the backside of this fight, but he's just going to go down. He's more food for this Callista. She's so strong at her current level in this meta, and Viper is showing that he can pilot her to such beautiful effect. We've all seen what he's been practicing in solo queue. We didn't know what he could get done on the stage, and damn, does it look good. Joker now in the back of this pit does not have the unsealed spellbook, so he was just going for a cheeky steal. Not enough. Griffin will grab a 25-minute Baron.
Yeah, once again, the game gets blown wide open after what appeared to be relatively even gameplay throughout. Right here, you can see Olaf doing Olaf things. He comes in. Chovy's ultimate actually gets windwalled, so it looked like it was an okay pickup for Sandbox. Dub having to flash away right there, ended up missing the last tornado. Chovy able to get away, Sword coming in to clean up that kill, and this was just after killing Joker on the right-hand side. But then there was this follow-up. It looks like On Fleek was just going to go down immediately. Chovy goes on to On Fleek, ends up getting slowed, and then doesn't get another auto attack. Off onto On Fleek, and so things looked like they were all going to be fine, but then Sandbox oversend a little bit too much. Rise gets straightened up really quick, and then Griffin start the Baron.
I'm actually quite perplexed as to why Ghost didn't use the culling there as he was running away. But I guess we won't find out. Viper has gone for the I want to win the game right now build, as he has the QSS and a GA in his back pocket. Griffin don't want this game to last very long at all. 26.5 minutes, gold lead, finally hitting a relevant point. 4,000 is now on the line. Okay, Lahens gets another taunt. Damn, they're so good at playing around Galio as Sword dives on forward. Doesn't find the knockback with the disdain as Chovy just waiting in the wings, looking for his opportunity. Flawless Duet not going to land. Fate's Call just to rout Joker. You can see that was just a positioning ultimate. Viper basically throwing him over there so Joker had nowhere to go. But he's taking them on a merry chase. Everyone dodges the Glacial Fissure, but it buys him even more time. Baron, you can see, just ticking down second after second, and this is not sieging time.
Oh, ends up actually getting...
Yeah, Vanguard's Edge comes in just to try and get that kill. Defiant Dance is going to be there. Chovy picks up the kill, but at what cost, everyone?
A lot of Baron duration ended up getting used right there. Summit and On Fleek now are going to pick themselves up the second Mountain Drake. One of the problems with the second Mountain Drake, though, is that if you guys are behind, if you're on the defensive, it doesn't really do anything. They end up just being worthless stats.
Denying it from Griffin is still a big deal, though.
That is true. And so for right now, they won't come online until later. If Sandbox can manage to regain footing in this game, no Joker right now. Full-on retreat in the mid lane. This is, at least is going to be the mid inhibitor going down. Ghost canceled his recall.
Yeah, well, they don't have inner turrets.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's, I guess they're thinking right now, they're thinking that maybe we can trade. But inhibitor falling. Griffin not going to have the Baron after 40 seconds have elapsed. And look at this. Summit actually gets over there and clears out the minion wave, so it's reset time for Griffin. Actually a smart cancel there from Ghost to get him another minion wave or two.
Managed to crash the wave as well. Sword making his way up there right now. And with no neutral objective on the right-hand side of the map, wouldn't just be surprised to see everyone go into top lane now. Look to raise the top tier 2 turret and then maybe press on to the top inhibitor. Even though it's not as valuable as the bottom inhibitor. Still something they could aim to capture right now. 13 seconds remaining on the Baron, so that is all but gone.
Yep. Basically was just an empowered recall towards the end there, but damage done in the mid lane. They do manage to take down that mid inhibitor. And when do we start talking about the fact that super minions move minion waves towards the person with a dead inhibitor more, and you get more money based on the farm? Is that a worthwhile conversation at this point?
That actually is. We don't actually see teams do the proper thing, which is permanently freezing with the super minions yet. League isn't quite there.
We're not quite there?
We're not quite there yet.
Haven't had our Moscow 5 moment.
Been talking about
finally
this for
we talk about lane priority.
Couple of
like
years.
That.
Yep. See, here we go. We're gonna meet the super minion wave right in front of the mid tier 1 turret. We're gonna kill that. Wouldn't want to deny Griffin, 200, 300 gold worth of minions and XP. So
cool.
God forbid that. Now someone's gonna get to pick that up here in mid lane, or it's just gonna go to the super minions, but not the end of the world. But that's definitely something that I'm really glad that you bring it up, because pro teams around the world are not doing it yet and utilizing these freezes with super minions. And there's really not a reason not to.
Yeah, exactly. You may as well take the free money and deny the money where you can. I mean, that's what this game is all about. It's about buying the items, killing the champions. Right now, Griffin, though, they're thinking about the killing of champions part as they are trying to take down this inner turret. Tarzan is going to go golden, but that is actually going to be a big price to pay. Teleport comes in right underneath this turret as Lehens taking so much damage from Summit. Gets himself out as the Fate's Call is going to be used. Don't know whether Viper needed to, but that is going to guarantee that the Gargoyle survives.
Now look at this wave in mid. You can just freeze and deny the entire wave from ever going back to the opponent. Is there a Baron on the map? No. Is there an Elder on the map? No. Why are you pushing it? What are you doing?
Not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. Not quite sure either.
Oh, we'll see whether we get a clue further down the line.
It's going to be 2 cannons potentially. No, that one's going to end up dying. But definitely the next cannon wave will be picked up now by the Callista. And it's a wave and remnants of a wave that you could have just denied from Griffin. And especially these late game stages trying to get last item completions before major objectives, why do you hand over free gold and free XP?
It's a good point. Especially when Sandbox are certainly backs against the wall. Gold lead has actually snuck back a little bit for Sandbox. That might have a lot to do with the fact that these super minions have been tearing apart the red dots that you can see in the mini-map. Dove down here, though, will push this one forward yet again. Some respite being given as far as where the minion waves are on the map for Sandbox. So they get themselves a reset if you want. You can see 3 control wards in the pockets of Griffin and 4. Over on the side of Sandbox as we start the Baron dance yet again. 31 minutes into this game. It's already in the hands of Griffin, but 4,000 gold is not a lead that you can really hang your hat on.
Well, I do think that the team composition for Griffin is stronger in a prolonged fight. It's so difficult to hold down the Callista unless the Ryze is able to get a Rune Prison on her, which is going to be near impossible. So they have the problem of how do you actually beat Griffin in a straight-up 5v5, because the Urgot, Aurelia, and Callista is just so difficult for the Sandbox team composition to really handle outside of a dream setup. So they're still going to have their work cut out for them. If they can manage to win a sloppy fight with even 2 or 3 members remaining, those double mountains are going to come online and easily result in a Baron cap.
Well, right now you've got Griffin engaging on the top side. Sword's going to be a long way away from this fight. There's now Chovy, denying so much with the Defiant Dance. His heroic entrance gets Lehens back towards his team. Viper now, he's picked up the Gargoyle, but Joker uses to stand behind me. The flash forward, a little bit of a disconnect here from Griffin, but Summit has to go golden. Now in the back line, more golden members of Griffin as Ghost is trying to flash. Tarzan gets on top of him, no damage from the Lucian in the back line, and that means that the Callista is able to pop off. Griffin draw first blood in the fight as now Sandbox, they're routed. Joker is so low. Summit as well, he does have a lot of damage and a lot of shielding, and that is an unbreakable that denied a lot of damage there from Lehens.
And it looks like Tarzan and Lehens just want to stop the ability.
Well, I mean, this might just be game, as Griffin are pushing with 3 members towards this base. Ghost does make it back, but he's very squishy. There's the flawless duet, just holding onto it, and Ghost just cannot move towards these Nexus turrets.
Summit
it is going to be a bare Nexus right now. Summit is so incredibly close. The teleport onto this control waters. Tarzan unable to get it, and the Nexus will go down. Fear beyond death, even arms from Sword, and Griffin will get themselves the 2-0. But this one looked different from both the SKT series and every other 2-0 that Griffin have got so far this season.
Yeah, and this is looking a much closer week for Griffin games. They're not as one-sided as what we would expect. In Sandbox, they had a few moments of brilliance in this game. I actually think Summit was doing phenomenal this game.
Yeah.
Obviously had an unfortunate death down there in the bottom lane to sort it in Lehens, but I think that he did quite well on the Rise. And I think Sandbox can feel satisfied knowing that maybe any other team in LCK right now, outside of maybe SKT or Griffin, probably would have succumbed to some of the positions that Sandbox found themselves in.
And also succumb to the tilt, right? I mean, losing a game based on a 50-50 Baron steal where you had control of the Baron pit is something that makes a lot of teams feel absolutely terrible. And often the results that we see in best of threes that end game 1 in a situation like that is just a landslide. And this was not a landslide victory for Griffin. It was a shorter game. Certainly they did press their advantage very, very well at the end of that last team fight, but that was an extended one. It was one that Griffin had to sort of masterfully tear apart in order to get themselves into the right position, in order to capitalize on the positioning that they found Sandbox in. So a very different series to what we've seen in the past, and I just really like seeing closer, more competitive games that you can actually still congratulate the losing team in macro decisions around the map, and even micro decisions that they make in some of these exchanges.
Who do you give the MVP to, Atlas?
That is a good question. Maybe Viper?
Yeah, I'm thinking it's either Viper or Lehens.
Yeah.
Can't give it to Sword. Can't give it to Tarzan.
Could you give it to Chovy? I guess probably not.
No, I don't
It
think
is a
so.
toughie. I think it's a toughie.
He had too many close calls, too many flounders this game.
Yeah.
So I definitely do think that Viper or Lehens are the 2 primary candidates.
Yeah, I think Viper's probably got it.
Yeah.
My personal opinion. I'd also rather hear him in an interview as well. So I'd be excited because I just like picking it. Picking at Viper's brain. The guy is extraordinarily smart. So it would be good to see what Mina has to ask him. Because it's just fun. I mean, the brains of Griffin players are just different from the other teams. Here in the LCK, they just think about the game differently. They think about the drafts differently. We saw that Game 1 draft. That was a draft to make LS cry, but it was a draft that won the game.
I'm dying on the inside.
It is just it was a curious series.
I'm feared beyond death right now. That is what's going on here.
I feel like the result was exactly what we were expecting. However, the way we got to the result was a journey I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I thought that Griffin would be a lot more explosive inside of the games, not as...
Yeah, I thought they were going to come back and get revenge, right?
Yeah.
They got sort of the wind knocked out of them a little bit by SKT, and then they managed to claw themselves a victory at the end with all of those clutch plays that they were able to make. The decision-making was what got them over the line in the end with a 5,000 gold lead as the Nexus actually fell down. That's just insane that they were able to cope with it. And now I was thinking, CV Max goes back, gets a little bit mad at his places. That was too close. This time you smash them. But that's obviously not what the feedback was, because the way they played this game wasn't fast and loose. We can see it right here. I mean, this certainly was. This was a capitalization on a little bit of a misdemeanor in priority from Sandbox.
Actually a really good start inside of this game, but this is where one of the first major blunders happened. Trying to dive Summit. OnFleek was here. Chovy was here as well. But then everything was just a little sloppy.
It was this. Look at the Define Dance. Just the tip. Not enough. Last tick of the Ignite. Didn't quite get there.
Brilliant nerfs. Am I right?
Yeah, exactly.
There we go.
Yeah,
Tragedy.
Her W copped it so much on the damage side. So, yeah, normally the calculation would have worked. As, yep, that is a special delivery to the grinder. An easy one, but, I mean, Lehens down there to help out. You mentioned the fact that Summit did have a decent game. This was a whoopsie. as Fate's Call is not something that you want to use your last breath on as far as the targets. And this was the second blunder, really, for Sandbox to put them closer to a loss here in this game.
And then there was obviously the follow-up Baron. Not quite sure what On Fleek was doing right here, but did manage to bait in Chovy. And then they ended up picking up the kill onto him, but then Ghost and Summit said that they wanted a little bit more. They bit off a little bit more than they could chew.
Yeah, and also, I mean, Ghost had absolutely no way back into that fight, right?
Yeah.
So it's just a couple of free kills, and then instantly, Griffin are going to make the clear call. They want to go for the Baron. They get lots of sticks into it. They're able to take down Dove before he's able to get any buttons pressed at all.
I love Olaf.
It was the most anemic Yasuo, but it's once again one of those examples of a lane for Yasuo that you just can't gank, right? Because there's no knock-up synergy with anyone else. So it's very telegraphed with where that one is going to happen. It was a fun game. I actually really enjoyed it. Griffin, of course, feeling in the driver's seat throughout the majority, not like in game number one. However, it wasn't just a stomp. It wasn't just a rollover, and Griffin had to work for this. And it was just some really nice team fighting. The way that they fight on multiple different fronts and do so well is what really separates them.
Yeah, their team fighting. So far, this split has only arguably been matched by SK Telecom.
Yeah, I think
SKT
so.
is actually the only team that has sort of deconstructed them in some team fights as well, I would say.
And they were also very extended
Yeah.
on multiple different fronts. You know, it's coordination in separation for Griffin in a lot of ways, right? They're able to allocate the right resources to the right targets no matter where they are in the moment in time, right? So when someone runs away up here, someone runs away down there, they manage to make it work. And we saw that in that game. And you saw also that all of the damage was very even on the side of Griffin. And in fact, it was higher on the side of Sandbox, and that sort of shows you that's exactly why Sandbox are our team that does the most damage per minute. Griffin aren't. I mean, they're at 5th or something like that. It's not a stat that they're all that proud of.
They're very selective with their fights.
Exactly. And that's the thing. I mean, the damage that kills your opponent is the damage that matters. It's not about just, you know, landing poke. They also don't play poke compositions because they're pretty good at the old team fights. Just a great one to see, guys. And the MVP interview will be right around the corner, but we need to find out who that MVP is. I reckon it's Viper. That's my last guess.
I'm
locking it in. Sword's gonna get it.
What?
The Urgot gets the MVP.
Reddit, here I come.
Oh my goodness. Look, okay. We mentioned the fact that, you know, this play was good. This play was good. Yep. He had some good flanks. Like, his positioning was good.
Show me the next one. Here we go. Hold on. Let's take a look here.
Oh, that was a cute one.
Okay, that is quite a good flash knock-up right there.
Yeah, okay.
Also managing to zone Ghost off from the fight. All right. Okay.
I feel like you're biased. You're anti-Urgot biased. That's what it is. I'm
never.
calling you out right here.
What? Urgot's a great champion. It's fantastic.
All right, guys. We are going to have an MVP interview, so thankfully I've been saved from this interaction. So let's throw it over to Jason for some translation.
정말 이제는 이겼다는 말이 어색하지 않을 정도로
Once again, we're going to be joined by Griffin players for the MVP interview. It's Chovy and Sword.
안녕하세요.
Nice to see you guys.
네, 지난번 SKT전 오늘
It
샌드박스전
was SK Telecom, and today it was Sandbox. It was a tough schedule. How was it?
그냥 평소처럼 한 것 같아요.
I mean, I think we just did as we do usually.
잘 해내셨고요.
It wasn't really that tough.
하루밖에 못 쉬셨어요. 오늘 오면서 또 정말 강팀을
Sword, you only had one day off, and it could have been a bit of a pressure facing up against the second place team. How was it? There wasn't big pressure. We were just solely focusing on our own plays. Griffin, you know, did you see the mic check of the previous episode versus SK Telecom? I think you guys were doing an awesome job over there. And speaking of today's game, you picked up MVP in the first set. So you tied up with Deft, reaching up to 1,000 points. So you guys first picked Galio, even though Lissandra was open. Why was that?
사실 원래
To be honest, I think Galio in mid lane, I mean, even though it had several nerfs, I have confidence to have laning priority.
선픽 하나 나왔으니까 뱀픽 이득 볼 수 있게 그렇게
So we had a first pick card available, so that kind of led us an easier pick and ban in the upcoming ban phase. So that's why we first picked it. Galio was everywhere in the map. You were supporting your players all the time. You were always in the backup. So do you remember that play? I don't remember.
네, 그런 장면이 있었는데요. 다들 어떻게 이런 생각을 할 수 있는지 정말
We were really amazed by how you were so able to make up those plays, but I guess you don't really remember. I mean, if I see a replay, I might remember, but maybe I just did as I was, as my feelings told me to do. I'm not really sure because I don't remember. And how was your laning phase with Galio? Actually, Dove pushed you out of lane and took the first mid lane turret. I mean, I was doing fairly well during the laning phase, but Sandbox took the Herald and they used it in the mid lane, so I just decided to let them take the turret.
네, 하지만 그런 상황에서도 정말 침착하게 계속 경기를 잘 풀어가고
were able to stay calm and play out the game. We prepared this highlight over here. This is the Baron team fight. First, you were chasing Summit with sword. What was going over there? I was pushing top lane at first, but I thought that's not really worth it, so I just wanted to catch out Summit over there, but we weren't able to do that, so I just wanted to join my teammates at the Baron's pit. And Tarzan flashed in the Baron's pit, even though there was a... He can actually just jump in. I didn't really expect that. I'm just amazed at how Tarzan is good right now.
순간적인 판단으로 진입했고 저렇게 바론을 잡아냈습니다. 자, 이렇게 1세트 깔끔하게 가져갔고요.
Game 1 was a bit of a clean and perfect game. In Game 2, once again we have to mention your love of Urgot. Urgot had consecutive nerfs, but Griffin still sticks to playing Urgot in top lane. Urgot is a very it was a previously an OP champion, but after that nerf, it's really hard to kind of stay in lane in the early games. But if you pick a nice rune and some tanky runes, I think it's still a viable pick. So versus Rise matchup, it's not really that easy, right? What was your plan? During the laning phase, I wanted to have laning priority and put some pressure, but it was not easy. If it had a bit of more cleaner turret dive, it could have been easier, but I think there was a bit of a sloppy moment.
아까 그리핀이 함께 바론을 치던 모습에서 샌드박스가 오자 쿨하게 바론 포기하고.
Well, you guys were trying Baron, but Sandbox was chasing you guys in the Baron's pit, and you guys just backed up and re-engaged over there. Whose order was that? Well, we all said that we should rather open teamfight over there, so I just trying to open teamfight on Yasuo. It was okay because if we win the teamfight, we're gonna take the Baron anyway, so it was okay. And how you guys closed out the game, it was really amazing. So let's go through this highlight together.
네, 이렇게 상대를 잡아내는 장면들이
you are picking up several kills.
네, 사실 여기서 경기가 끝나는 것까지 이어질 거라고
we did not expect that the game would end here.
여기서 사실 저희는 여기서 끝날 각을 다 같이 봤었던 것 같아요.
I think we already saw this happening, and we knew that we were able to close the game out because we won the team fight really well. And we were in a really great position to win the team fight, so I mean it was a predictable result.
네, 경기영상이 상당히 길게 이어지고 있습니다.
That's a bit of a long replay.
초비 선수는 저때 이제 뒤로 더 올라가서 경기 끝내야겠다 이렇게 마음 먹고.
Were you trying to just break the nexus over there?
일단 우리 팀이 집을 끊을 수 있고
our players could stop their base. So then I thought if they can stop their recall, I knew that we were able to just take down the Nexus.
귀환을 못하도록 옆에서 괴롭혀주고 있었어요, 타자 선수가.
Tarzan was the one stopping their recall, right?
와, 정말 감탄만 나오는 장면이었습니다.
I cannot believe what I just watched.
정말 파이팅하는 모습, 행복해하는 모습.
And you guys seemed really happy after today's victory. What did CB Max told you guys after the game?
저는 오늘 잘한 걸 사실 못 느꼈는데
Today, I didn't really think I was the one who was playing really well. I think all my teammates were doing so good. But CB Max also gave me some compliments, so it feels really nice. Chobi, how would you like to rate your performance today?
그냥 무난하게 한 것 같아요.
I mean, I did okay.
그러니까 제가 해야 할 거.
I just did what I was supposed to do. In the situations that I have to do some plays.
다제 역할 잘 해주셨습니다. 자, 이제 다음 경기가
your next
젠지전입니다.
series is up against Genji. How are you going to prepare for that?
따로 준비할 건
Nothing
없고,
special?
하던 대로 할 것 같아요.
Just as we do normally.
초비 선수 인터뷰 언제나 즐겁습니다.
It's always happy to have you here, Chobi, on the interview stage. What about you, Sword?
한 마음이니까 똑같이 생각하고
Same. I have the exact same opinion with Chobi.
계속해서 하던 대로.
I guess you guys are gonna focus on your basic routine to prepare for the Genji series.
다시 한번 승리 축하드리고요.
So thank you very much for this interview, and I'm gonna pass it back to our casters. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ji-sun. Fantastic to hear from both Sword and Chovy on the interview stage, as the Urgot MVP has bothered my friend LS just a little bit. He's slightly perturbed, but I think he will be back for next week. He's got a few days to recover. He'll be back on Saturday, and then everything will be okay.
You know what's really making me so excited to come back is next week is 9.5 Silas.
Hey,
who else is
true.
excited?
Do you know who comes back? Julian comes back.
Julian comes back.
Actually,
too.
I want to change his name to Glenn.
What?
Because if you've seen The Wedding Singer, it's Julia Gulia and Glenn Gulia. Never mind. It's completely okay. We'll leave that. As you can see, these are the standings. Griffin retain their spot in number 1, and now plus 10 for Sandbox. Any victory for SKT in their next match will tie up their game amount line, and also give SKT the point advantage. So second place is certainly on the cards for SKT. As we move further down the line, this is going to be your next week. Griffin versus Genji are going to open it up with the Telecom War to come in afterwards. That's going to be a big match for SKT result-wise, but shouldn't be a hard one in theory, because we saw KT today and Afrika Freak smash them. So it could be a rough run here for KT Rolster. We'll see what they can do. Kingzone then take on Jin Air Green Wings as they start their run towards the playoffs, which is comfortable apart from one match against Griffin. There are some big matches here this week. Hanwha versus SKT. Another one.
If the law of order is to be abided, Griffin must lose next week versus either Afrika or Genji.
It'll be Afrika. It's got to be Afrika.
I think that's it.
I
think everyone knows where to place their money.
Yeah, they got a weird death note, man. They got a real weird death note that's like Sandbox. We need to get them in the first round robin. Otherwise, we just want to lose. Lose every game. No trying allowed. And then the next round robin, it's Griffin. Their name is etched in there. Even Jin Air can beat them, but that's because they're saving all of their energy. That is going to do it for Week 7. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. And we'll see you next week on Thursday for the Telecom War. Good night.